Now we're going to look at folder structures, which includes recognising the benefits of open and shallow folder structures and assessing your folder structure for efficiency and transparency. This section relates to activities 1.1 and 1.2 in your workbook, so you can read the questions and make any relevant notes as we step through. Which pantry does your folder structure look like? Is it the one where different items are mixed up together and you spend minutes searching for what you need every single time you go looking for something? Or is it clearly laid out and well labelled so that you know where every file should live? Is there a corner of the pantry that's so well hidden that you can hide your chocolate stash in it from everyone else?
When it comes to productivity in software systems, it is all about mouse clicks.
Is your mouse overworked? Every time you open a folder, you are spending your time and energy. If you're not even sure that the file you're looking for is in that folder, then you are wasting your energy. But why does that matter? Well, let's have a look at how that plays out over time. In my last normal job, the management had decided that the software that I used as a core business tool wasn't necessary and that the basic application would meet my needs. I developed a business case comparing two software applications, documenting how many mouse clicks and how many minutes it took me to do the exact same task for each piece of software. It took 3 times as long to use the basic application versus the advanced tool. For a single task on a single day, that might not make much of a difference. But I used that software all day, every day. So one working day could become 3, one working week could become 3 working weeks to complete the exact same task. So if you're spending just a few minutes finding the right file every time you attach a file to an email, upload it to your website or social media, or open a frequently used document to edit it, how much time are you wasting over a week, month, or year? What's the difference between a deep and shallow folder structure? Well, a shallow folder structure means that more folders are in level 1 and less at level 2 and 3, and rarely will you find folders in level 4 or 5 or beyond. It means that you have so much more easy access to the information, just like the binders on the left-hand side that are all open to your view. A deep folder structure means that you've got lots of folders within folders that you have to constantly navigate down to. In a shallow folder structure, you have all of the relevant files up in a folder that relates to a year or a quarter or just to the client, and you use good file naming and date timestamp versioning to sort and search for the relevant files. It means that you're not spending hours going through metaphorical boxes, shelves and doors. So how deep do your folders go? Having a deep folder structure makes finding the files you want consuming and confusing. You have to keep clicking down to drill down to the file that you need. We mostly do this because we get scared about having too many files in one folder, so we create another folder to categorize them. But then we don't rename the files that are within that folder, so we end up with the same file name across 50 different folders. How do we change that for the future? Well, having a shallow folder structure with more files in them that are well named allows us to navigate to the files we need without having to drill down as far. And we can use search to navigate to them quickly. And we'll learn more about that in topic number 5. Open and closed folder structures are about who can access what files. And it mostly applies to larger organisations rather than solo operators. However, it is still worth knowing so that when you scale up, you are prepared. An open folder structure means only locking down the information that is critical to employee and customer privacy and safety, and having the folder structure reflect the work you do, not who does the work. In my 15 years in systems and training, the most common problem that I've seen across organisations in information sharing is the lack of information sharing. We think that we need to keep all of our knowledge and information secure and locked away. We get protective of our domain, especially in a tough economy, but we hurt ourselves and our business by doing so. One of the best lessons I learned early on is that if you can't be replaced, you can't be promoted, which goes for delegating work as well. Most successful organisations have a very open information sharing policy. So how can you prove in your folder structure? Remove the folders that have very specific employee names or roles on them. That information should be in folders that everybody can access that relates to the task, so that if they go on holiday, get hit by a bus or win lotto, everything is where it's meant to be for business continuity. Give your team access to nearly everything except for the obviously sensitive information when it comes to financials or other team members or very specific client information. A lot of people will say, oh, but I don't want them to see that information. And here's my tip for you. If you can't trust your team with the information that's needed to run your business, then I'd suggest that you need to think about who you hired and why you hired them, because you need to be able to trust your team to do the best they can with the job you've given them, and giving them as much information as you can that they can go and self-learn and self-research will improve your business no end. So let's do a little activity to walk through what we've learned in this section. We've learned about the benefits of open and shallow folder structure. So I'm going to give you 10 seconds to look at your workbook, activity 1.1, and think about that question and write the answers down. If you wrote answers like you reduce mouse clicks and save time, you can find files quicker, and everybody has access for business continuity, then you're on the right path. In activity 1.2, let's assess how deep or shallow and how open your folder structure is. So who has access to what folders in your organisation? How many folders deep does your folder structure go? And what are you going to change about your folder structures moving forward? I'm going to give you another 10 seconds to think about it and write down your answers. Next, we move on to file naming. Join me in the next section.